Hi, and welcome to Couch Conversations Beyond the Textbook, where real talk meets real life in the world of mental health. We're your hosts, Abby and Bethany, two therapists who have been through the textbooks and are entering the trenches. This is a space where we unpack what they didn't teach you in grad school, the messy, the meaningful, and the moments that shape us as professionals and people. So grab a seat on the couch and let's dive in. Please note that the content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of a qualified mental health provider with any questions you may have regarding your mental health or medical condition. The views and opinions expressed by hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of any organizations or professionals they may be affiliated with. If you are in crisis, or if you think you may have a mental health emergency, please call 911 or contact a local mental health crisis line or emergency service in your area.
Hello there, everyone. I'm Abby. I am one of the co-hosts for Couch Conversations Beyond the Textbook.
And I'm Bethany, the other co-host for Couch Conversations Beyond the Textbook. We're having a day here. What are we talking about today?
I think we are getting ready to start March. And we know that a lot of our listeners right now are in the heat of the end of the year. And they're either racing for graduation or just racing for a break.
Mm-hmm.
It's only been a year since we have been in that position. And I just thought it'd be kind of nice to kind of revamp what that was like and our experiences and, give a little encouragement and hope to
For sure.
through it. Yeah.
Yeah. And we still interact with interns that we knew from
yes.
last year and
Daily.
they were practicum students.
Yeah.
And we can relate to their stress.
Yes.
But also it's so nice to be like, wow, that's so hard, but not like also be experienced.
Yeah.
Internship year.
It's awful.
It's just, you just grind it out. It feels like a fever dream looking back on it.
That's what I was
I don't
just
even
gonna say.
know. I don't even know what happened last year.
Well, and our program has what they call portfolio at the end of the year. I know there are other ones that just do big presentations and dissertations and all these other different things, but there's always a huge project right before graduation. And that is piled on top of potentially taking the NCE or exams and then you're, looking for a job. And then you're also trying to get your associate's licensure if you're in Indiana.
Yeah.
I think Florida, you don't have to do that. I think it's Florida.
Yeah.
But anyway, different states have different requirements, but that is what we were facing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and taking the CPCE.
The CPCE, yep.
And then gearing up to take the NCE, which you took before you graduated.
Right.
I did not. I took it after I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Doing licensure portfolio or that big presentation, like we said, it was called portfolio for us, was hard.
Terrifying.
Honestly, though, I look back at it and I'm like, I really worked myself up for that. And it ended up not being that bad.
Right. Right. But I think it's the idea of, because we didn't know how it was going to go. We didn't know how we were going to be graded on it. No one does. And if you're doing a dissertation, it's similar. Like you are defending something and we were defending. So we had to defend the modality that we had chosen.
Right.
We also had to have like every big assignment, all these different, we had to have every syllabus we had and all these different requirements of like documents we had to submit. And it was just a lot. It was a lot on top of a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was because it wasn't just portfolio. It was like portfolio on top of classes, on top of seeing clients, trying to figure out how to, at that point, you're starting to figure out how to wrap up with clients.
Yeah.
Especially at the counseling center that we were at the college, because you're like, there's just a weird feeling about being like, I'm never going to see this client again.
I still struggle with that.
I do too. I still think about my clients from there.
Yeah.
And just hope that they're doing well.
Yeah, it's hard. And like you said, we have an intern here right now that was with us at the school last year as a prac student. And watching her go through this has been, it's been heartbreaking. Like it's been hard to watch her struggle with getting her hours on top of finishing her projects and knowing she's facing all this stuff coming up. And you and I have kind of gone to bat
Mhm.
for her a little bit because we remember how hard that is.
Yeah. The hour stress is like it's a stress like I've never experienced
Yeah.
before, because you're looking at these hours that you have to have and you're like, if I don't get these, I either have to redo this whole internship
Mm-hmm.
or do a different job.
Yeah.
Which is just like, at
Yeah.
that point, you're just going to redo the internship, but then it's like
Right.
paying for another year. So there's always
it's
that
awful.
stress,
Yes.
which honestly, there aren't any people that I've met in internship who haven't gotten their hours. Like somehow
they
it just happens.
They pull it out. And I think our school, I mean, the program at Grace was very strict.
Yeah.
And there were requirements through the school that were not necessarily needed through the state.
Yeah.
But when it came right down to it, I think that if you were pretty close, the school would work with you.
Yeah.
But I know that there are programs out there that are not as gracious, and they are black and white and say, you don't have your hours, you don't get to graduate.
Yeah.
And that has to be terrifying.
Yeah. And I think that, like, I'm sure that Grace would have offered an extension or something
Yes.
like that. But
Yeah.
you do have to get the certain amount of
Yeah.
hours
Yeah.
in some manner. So
Mhm.
whether that or the certain amount of direct hours
Yes.
and indirect. But
Yeah.
which is interesting because then, at least in Indiana, it shifts. So in grad school, we had to get like a certain amount of direct hours and a certain amount of indirect.
Right.
Whereas then you graduate and it's like, you just get 3,000 hours of whatever, indirect,
Yeah.
direct. Like you don't have to have a
Supervision.
certain kind
Yeah.
of, you do have to have 100 hours of supervision. But
yeah.
it's just interesting. It
It
feels like
is.
sometimes
It's less stressful.
it's less stressful, but I'm like, man, does it ever end? Like the requirements?
I know. Because then when you are fully licensed, you're having to do and you have to do it now too,
Yeah.
but your continuing education credits, and you have to do advocacy. And
Yeah.
so there are requirements, even when your requirements
Mhm.
to get your licensure are done, but
Yeah. I have
It
not
feels
done any
less-
of my continuing education.
neither have I. Neither. Well, because we just started a new it's every 2 years. And
Yeah.
is it just Indiana? You have to get 40 every 2 years? Or is that everywhere?
I don't know if it's everywhere, but I think that
It
it's
is
pretty
in-
common.
Yeah.
It's definitely in Indiana, but
But because we graduated on an odd year, it just rolled over.
yeah.
So we now have 2 years to do it.
Oh, we do?
Mhm.
I thought it was like next year.
I think it's
Okay.
every year you have to have 20.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure because I just renewed my
So
license.
40 every 2 years.
Yeah. I just
Gotcha.
renewed my license without a problem. And I didn't have any. So
Oh, I need to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that to say, if you are in the end of grad school, you're
we are feeling your pain.
nearing the end, we understand. We were just there, and it feels like forever ago.
Yeah.
But also just yesterday at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
I think watching the intern at our practice, going through it, really brings it back home for me.
Yeah.
And I felt I was very lucky at the school because, well, I was lucky being at the school. Also, I was lucky that I had a husband who could support me.
Mhm.
And so I could work as many hours as I needed. I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
And so I never struggled with the hours.
Yeah.
But I had so many people in my classes that were struggling and in my personal life that were struggling with the hours that it was hard. Like I felt the stress. Like
Yeah.
it was tough.
Yes. And I began internship with that stress. Was at one site and then eventually had to add the other site, which is how we met. So very thankful for it. But that was super stressful. Like my first 4 weeks, which is, a fourth of your first semester, where you're having to get 120 direct hours. I had 4 direct hours. 4 in the first 4 weeks.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
That
So-
made me that just made my stomach hurt.
Yes, it was so stressful, which was when I reached out and tried to, added the second site at the college, which I am so grateful for.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of easy. I mean, that first semester was stressful because I was trying to make
Yeah.
up hours.
Yeah.
But then going into the second semester, I was like, okay, I've got the clients. Like,
That
yeah. But
yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, if I don't pass this first semester, it was like, I literally don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to
Yeah.
do.
Well, we were
Make it
given
work.
we had the opportunity to work at the school that we were getting our degree from. And so the supervisors there were very well aware of our stress, and they did everything they could to make sure we
For
were
sure.
getting what we needed. And it was a huge blessing because not everybody gets that.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me a little bit about like how you got through not just the stress of hours, because that's a huge part of it, but then you add on all the other things. life, and then the projects and knowing graduation's coming and looking for a job and all of that.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot.
It's kind of ironic because I feel like last year, it's funny because in grad school you'll be in your internship year and they're like, make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Like self-care is so important. No, I just like last year, I just remember I just put my head down and I was like, we just got to get through.
Yes.
And so for like just kept telling myself, I can do anything for 9 months. I can do anything for 9 months. And I just like put my head down and made it through. Luckily, I have a good support system, like kind of similar to you.
Yeah.
My husband is the provider for our family, which I'm very thankful for. And so I didn't have to stress about like working. And I was working another job.
Like you were coaching college softball at the time.
But
in the last semester.
Yeah, it was crazy. That's why I feel like I look back and I'm like, even last year around this time, it's like, do I want to keep like I was struggling personally with what I even do. I knew I wanted to be a counselor, but I was like, do I also want to keep coaching? Softball's been a part of my life for so long. So I was internally struggling with that. I was also pregnant. So I was like, I'm going to be a mom. All of these things were just piled up that like this time last year. So reflecting on it is so wild because so much has changed in my life. And 2025 was just a crazy year for me. So
it was wild.
Yeah. So I think that going back to the self-care thing, I did not take care of myself well that last year. But I also feel like I am better for not taking care of myself, but I'm better for the decisions that I made and the things that I did. I'm so grateful for the coaching job. I learned a lot about myself and I learned a lot just about even what I wanted to do. Like I just knew I had a piece of like, okay, it's time to close this door. And I'm thankful for that. And then, just with internship, even getting to work with it was so cool getting to work with a lot of different populations at the private practice during internship, but then the college population as well. I love the college population.
We both fell in love with the college population.
I know. I wish we could have stayed, but
I know.
I also love the populations I'm working with today. It's been great. Yeah, that last year, I couldn't even tell you how I dealt with it. I had a good support system. Just trusted the Lord to get me through it, and we put our head down and we did it. And then summer was like such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I agree. I took the summer off. There was its own stresses in that because I did not have a projected job.
Yeah.
Going into September, we needed that. But it was. I remember sitting in our offices at the school in between sessions talking about whether or not you should continue to coach the softball team. And it's not just you're coaching college softball. Like it's much more intense than just I'm coaching a softball team. And I was a huge advocate for you to take a break. And I remember being like, Bethany, like I know you love it. And like, but you're getting ready to have a baby. You're starting a career. Yeah. Like it's going to be a lot, and being an advocate for you to like maybe take a step back.
Yes. And I think that my answer to that question was answered through the season. And I love the girl so much, but I was just like, this is just not for me anymore. It's time. I felt very at peace about closing the door on that. But when you're a part of something for so long, it's hard to see yourself outside of it. But now I'm like, I can't even imagine like being a mom and trying to, because this counseling really is my true passion. It's what I feel called to. Yeah. And so then I was like, well, I want to maybe coach, but then I also want to see clients. And there's no way I could have done it all. Like, and I would have wanted to. I love being able to be like, to work a couple days here and then be at home with my baby. And like, that has just been such a great setup for me. Like, it's just been, I feel so good about that. And so it's just funny to look back at where, this time last year, where I was and now where I am. Things have changed so much.
Yeah. I remember last year about this time was because we didn't have necessarily like finals or big exams at the end of each grading period or each class, but we did have projects at the end of almost every single class, and they were stressful. And you had your professors who were grading you hard, and you had your professors who you knew you could just kind of skirt by. Yeah. And I remember being at this point last year thinking, I have all the hardest professors and I'm doing all of this stuff. And then, like we said, our husbands are the providers, but like my husband had picked up a second job to make up the difference from when I was working.
Yeah.
And so he would work his main job during the week, and then on the weekends he would go do his. So I was a single mom basically also at home. And so which I was so grateful he did that, because there was no way we would have made it through with me not working. But I remember how my stress, and I was very similar to you. I just kind of put my head down. I was like, I have to power through this. Amazing support system. I did have some friends of my kids, like the parents of my kids' friends would pick up my kids because they knew I was studying, and they would take them to go do something so I could do some studying. But like, I remember that I knew I was stretching myself too thin and I was not giving my family my best. And the amount of guilt that came along with that, it was unreal.
Yeah. And your kids are a little bit older too. So even just that, I can imagine how difficult that would be to like, even coming home so tired because.
And stressed.
I
was cranky. I was probably not the nicest mom.
Yeah.
That probably last 3 months was like, it was tough. And I can't even imagine looking for a job, because I remember sitting at group supervision and having people start coming in telling me that, like, you and 2 other people that were graduating different weeks came in saying they had gotten a job. And I felt like this pressure, like everybody else is finding jobs and I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
And it was a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. And I think that, I mean, just having a family during your internship, whether you have kids, you're married, or just having people, friends, relationships, responsibilities outside.
General relationship is hard when you're at the season.
Yeah. I remember I would get home, on 9, 10 o'clock on some days. And I just I probably wasn't the best wife either. Like, I just remember being so tired, and we ate out so much. Like, I was not cooking dinner. So like physical, like my physical health wasn't, I was also pregnant. But then we're eating out because I'm not home to make food and Ben's working full time. And so it was just like so much.
Yeah.
But and it just weighs on you for sure.
Absolutely.
But I also think about what you were showing your kids through that, of like, if you've ever thought about that, like, I feel like your kids were still learning from you, like what it looks like to work hard for something that you really are passionate about, and probably feel guilty, but I don't think that they see it like that.
I don't think that I've ever really considered that part of it, the resilience in that. But now that you mention it, like, you see that in your kids also. They showed a lot of grace towards me.
Yeah.
But I think about the people who are handling this now, and they may not have a husband supporting them.
Yeah.
People, they could be living far away from family and being in a grad program away from where their support system is, and how hard that would be.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that is in a situation that looks very different than ours?
Yeah. Definitely, I would encourage you to find people in your grad program who are in similar situations and talk with them, like, find community in that way. I think that's so important. Talk about your stress and supervision, because your stress can impact your work with clients. I'm pro finding community and people that
and that can be hard
to talk to and relate to. It is. Yeah. And that feels so exhausting. Like, even just my relationships last year, I had nothing that I could give, really. It was very hard. Even like getting involved in, our local community and things like that. Like, that's something I'm passionate about, but I just had no bandwidth to do it last year.
Right.
And so I've super enjoyed getting to do that or step into that this year. But for someone who doesn't have, or isn't married, or doesn't have family nearby, finding community, within your community and within your grad school cohort, I think was so helpful. Like, I could not have made it through if I didn't have you guys to talk to last year. That was such a game changer, because I could talk to my friends, I could talk to my husband, but they don't really understand.
Nobody gets it like the people who are in it.
Yeah. You don't get it until you get it.
100% true. We've been talking just even today about like how hard it can be to be yourself around people and to meet new people and to feel comfortable. And something that I've noticed with us doing this year is the amount of people who have come out on social media to share just with us, even in our comment section, about like how hard things can be. And if you're somebody who does have social anxiety and isn't good at going out and meeting people, or that's intimidating to you, I don't think that there's anything wrong with reaching out to the same population of people that are going through what you're going through on social media. Because there is community there.
So true. Yeah, that is one. There's a lot of pros and cons to social media, but that's definitely one pro. You can find some groups of people and some version of belonging.
Absolutely.
Through those platforms.
Reach out to us. We get it.
Yeah.
We'll be your friends.
Yeah, we'll be your friends.
But I agree. Community is everything. And you can have the absolute best community around you ever. And the most loyal people and the people who will do anything for you. But if they haven't been through the specific counseling thing that you're going through, grad school for counseling, they're not going to understand the stress. And I remember when we got done with our big project, what we called a portfolio at the end of last year. And for some reason, I was so scared about that. And I think it felt so big because I had already passed the NCE.
Yeah.
And so this was my last big hurdle, and I was nervous as all get out. And I remember right before I was getting ready to Zoom and do that, my husband came into the dining room and he took one look at me and he could tell that I was like really freaking out. He goes, I have no idea what you're feeling right now or what you're going through, but can I like do anything?
I love that.
And honestly,
such a great support.
I know the acknowledgement that like he didn't get it was so helpful.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't want you to try to understand. I just want you to say that you see it.
Yes.
I just wanted you to see that it was hard because you can't understand.
Such a truth.
Yeah.
That's such a truth for so many things, even in counseling and grief work.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's so good.
Yeah.
Portfolio was so crazy. I don't know. I remember being stressed about it too. And I just had to keep telling myself, they are not going to fail you. Like,
I was
they're
so scared
not going to kick you out. I know, but I had to convince myself
I know.
we're not.
Sitting there with like I think I had a 4.0 or maybe a 3.9. I don't know. But I'm like scared they're going to fail me over this one project.
Yes. I'm like, they are not going to fail me. I have all my hours. I have everything that I need. They're not going to fail me. I keep telling myself that to hype myself up for it. But one thing that actually was helpful was the day of portfolio. This is crazy. I scheduled it on a day that we weren't going to have a game. We were not going to have a game, so I wasn't going to have to coach. Well, then weather changed our schedule and we had to schedule a game on the day I had portfolio. Well, I scheduled it late. So my portfolio wasn't until like 8 p.m. I think, or 7:30 maybe. No, it's probably 8. And so I scheduled it late on purpose just in case, but I didn't anticipate that happening because it was in like April. So I figured maybe the weather will be okay. So I actually I think it kind of benefited me to have that because then I was coaching games all day from show up to the field at 12, and then I didn't leave until I remember at 7:30 I was like, I gotta go. Our games luckily ended, and I told my assistant coaches I might have to leave before the end of this game. So I just remember and then I ran back to my office on campus at the school and did my portfolio there. So I had like the softball pictures.
I remember that.
And everything. Yeah. But honestly, not having to think about it all day kind of did help.
Yeah.
So I am thankful for that. But that was the presentation is basically you talk about counselor identity and you defend your theory that you worked on. Yeah. And it was actually interesting doing the research of like, what is counselor identity? What does that mean to me? Yeah. And I think we should do a whole episode.
I know. I was so intimidated by that topic, though.
Yes, me too, because I was like, counselor identity.
It was so confusing.
What does that mean? Yeah.
Until I researched it. It was very confusing.
To differentiate, like, what is the difference between counseling and social work and psychiatry and psychology and things like that?
Yeah.
interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But we made it through.
Yeah. We had to read a book based on our modality that we had
Mhm.
chosen to focus on that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to defend it and say, what it is and how
Yeah.
it works and why it's good. And
That's another thing. We had to do case conceptualizations.
yeah, we had to do a case conceptualization. Yeah.
Which I loved. Okay, I didn't like doing the case conceptualization, but then after I did it, I was like, I wish I could do this for every client because you just gain such a better understanding, an in-depth understanding
Did you
of your
have,
client.
when we did because we did case conceptualizations a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and they were required for different classes, for different things.
Yeah.
Did you think that when you got into a career, you'd be doing them? Because I did. I thought they are preparing me for when I have to do these when I get a job.
No, so I did it because
no.
I think my internship supervisor, Deb,
Uh-huh.
was like, you're going to wish that you could do these for every single client once you graduate. And now I kind of do. Like, I don't want to do all the work, but at the same time, it was the clients I chose to do my conceptualization over, I had such a better in-depth understanding of them because I had really dug in and like, looked at their background and like everything like that. And so I don't want to spend the time. I don't necessarily have the time to do that, but I do wish that I could.
Yeah.
I mean,
I had this picture in my mind that we would be presenting cases to our supervisors as we were going through. And so I thought we'd be doing them. And you don't do that. You don't do them at all.
Yeah, you don't do them at all.
That was a shock for me.
That is so funny.
I thought
there are so many things that you think that you're going to do in the real world and you just don't, which is like part of the reason that nobody started this podcast.
And nobody told us that you don't do case conceptualization. So I thought it was a normal part of a counseling career. Yeah.
I think that you might do them in community mental health.
Okay.
Maybe. I've never worked community mental health.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Of you, so I guess I can't say. But I think that I've heard that.
That's so funny though.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
There are a lot of things that are so different.
Yeah.
It's just so much more laid back. Like
so much more laid back.
Yes. I am a self-proclaimed unprofessional. And I remember our supervisor at the school said, "You're not unprofessional. She said, you are relaxed," I think is what she said.
Yeah.
Which sounds much nicer. But we were just talking about this morning. I don't know how to be anything but who I am. Like, I know that I should be presenting myself differently, but and I guess there is like a part of me that is like, I am more serious.
Yeah.
But I'm not professional and I don't know, but it's okay in this field.
Yeah.
Like,
you're relatable.
Good word. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Nobody wants to go into a session with somebody who's sitting all stuffy with a notebook. Like,
yes.
And this is a career that it benefits me that I don't know how to act like a grown up, but
you do. You're selling yourself short. You are professional. You're just relaxed and confident in who you are. And I think that gives permission to your clients to be the same way. Like,
tell me more about myself.
You're like, oh, give me more compliments.
Come on, keep going.
I think that go to a therapist who was so stuffy and like buttoned up and I had one. When I was in college, I went to a counselor at the counseling center. Yeah. And I did not go, and that was my freshman year. I did not go for very long because I felt like, I was not uncomfortable. And obviously, like we've said, you have to find a therapist that works for you. So she just didn't work for me. And that was okay. Like, it didn't, deter me, obviously, from the field. But you just have to find the person that works for you. Mm-hmm. And I just think that you're fun. Like, I think your clients have fun with you. You work with kids, and that goes so well for you. So,
but all that just to say, like, if you are if you're sitting in grad school and you are nervous about the professionalism of the career, because I was like, God, there's no way I can go walk into an office like I do an internship because I work at a school, so it's more relaxed. Well, I'm working in a private practice, and it's the same.
Yeah,
and
super chill.
We definitely have therapists that are very successful who are much more professional and serious than I am. But we also have us.
Yeah.
And I would say you're more professional and serious.
I'm more, I would say so. Yeah.
And you're successful. It's just everybody, like you said, everybody needs a different therapist. And I think that our front desk, who does most of the scheduling, kind of knows.
Yeah.
She knows us. She's gotten to know us pretty well, pretty
Yeah.
quickly. And so
Yeah.
she knows what she's doing.
Yeah. I think for me, I can get comfortable with the client. I kind of like almost base off the client's
Yeah.
demeanor
Well, yes, I think that's,
a
I
little
do that
bit,
too.
especially with adults. I
Yeah.
think I like if a client, we kind of, once we're more in the working stage, I'm definitely much more relaxed.
Mhm.
But the intake, I feel like I'm
Yeah.
just trying to figure out where the client's at. Like,
Yeah.
I might have one client. I have one client who came in and during the intake, she's like, "Can I like take my shoes off and get comfortable?" I'm like, "Yeah, girl, let's get comfortable. I'll put my blanket on top of me." I'm like, "This is great. Let's get cozy." And then there's some who
Mhm.
like sit with their jacket on the whole time. And, like, I'm
It's
like,
true. Yeah.
and I still try to I get somewhat comfortable then too.
Yeah.
But just kind of see what the vibe is.
Yeah. That's true. Like you do morph into what your client needs
Yes.
as far as energy,
Yeah.
I guess is the way I would look at it. Like I'm the same person all the time, but I can definitely hype it up or bring it down depending on what is going on in the room.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. Okay, let's talk about Rosebud Thorn, and then we've got to talk about our couch confessions.
Okay. Rosebud Thorn. I'll go first this week. I can't remember what I said last week though.
I don't remember either. So if
Okay.
it's the same thing, that's okay.
I'm going to say my thorn first. My husband was out of town this week.
That's so valid.
And I'm always saying that I keep my house together and I keep my kids together.
Yeah.
My husband keeps me together because I'm a hot mess.
Yeah.
I cannot do life without him telling me what's going on.
Yeah.
And he was gone and it was not
You're
pretty.
like, this stinks.
Yeah, it was not pretty. And he listens to us and I have to shout him out because when I'm working later than him, he makes dinner. And when he's not there,
yeah, you're like,
we don't eat till like 8 o'clock at night because I'm also running kids around and it's just
girl dinner.
Yeah. So my thorn was that I had to be a single mom for a few days. That was tough.
Yeah.
Bud. What's supposed to be counseling too, isn't it? Bud.
Anything.
Yeah, Bud.
We get real here on the couch.
We do. We do get real on the couch. Bud is, I have a client in our other office that it's slow moving, but they're beginning to open up a little bit. And I'm seeing some acceptance.
Yeah.
Of acceptance of me as a stranger into their life. Because that can be very hard, especially for littles, when they are put into a room with a stranger and they don't have anyone around them.
Yeah.
This particular client, I think, is 5. So it's scary for them.
Yeah.
And this client is starting to be a little more comfortable. So that's a bud.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
To see that.
It is. It is. It's encouraging for sure.
Yeah.
And then a rose. I think about who I've seen this week. Rose is Monday. I have a client, my last client on Mondays, and they come in and it's a lot of yapping. Lots of spilling tea. They're an older one.
Yeah.
Lots of spilling tea. And it got kind of serious this week. And I saw some real growth and it was
that's sweet.
Really exciting.
That's so exciting.
It's so exciting.
Such a great
So I would say that would be my rose because it's been a lot of came in, did the initial work, but with teenagers, you're there's going to be some more. So
yeah,
you kind of maintain for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of just yapping and they've been spilling the tea.
Yeah. And
just about other people in their life. But this week we really dug in.
I love that.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, we'll start with my bud, is I had a lot of intakes this week. Well, not a lot. I had a couple intakes this week. And I'm excited about them. I think that it's always exciting to think about the progress you can make. So that's good. And then my thorn is I had an intake that I did that then they no-showed 2 weeks in a row. So the rest of our scheduled appointments. And I think
that's rough.
it's fine. But
it's hard
to me, I still struggle just with the like imposter syndrome of like, was it something I did?
Mm-hmm.
When that's really, I just had to like, that's not the case. It
Never.
literally probably had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So I think it's not like, it's more of that like internal battle
Mhm.
of just when a client no shows,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my gosh, I did terrible. I didn't make a good impression. And then I'm like, that's not true.
You
So
didn't
just,
even do any actual work.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like I
they
just had
didn't
to
get a
ask them
chance.
questions.
Yeah.
And it really was a session where I was asking a lot of questions because they didn't fill out any of their paperwork beforehand.
Okay.
So that's kind of a,
That's kind of,
sign that
yeah.
they're probably not going to
Yeah, they're not real committing.
But yeah, so, and then my rose is found that I have a couple clients who are a little bit older
Mm-hmm.
that I've found that I really enjoy working with that population. I've really been like reflecting
I
on
love
that this
that.
week. And I was like, man, I kind of love the like
Mm-hmm.
55 plus age.
That's
I think it's so
great.
fun to work with.
I think that's a real need too.
Yeah.
I think at that age, it's almost like I'm too old to go, or
Yeah.
you know. So
Yes.
I think that
Well, and
that's
it's
probably
a lot
real.
of like that age is a lot of the when they were young, it was like the pull
Yes,
yourself
the
up
stigma.
by your, you
Yep.
know, boots, and like
Mhm.
mental health isn't a thing. And so then I
Yep.
think that you find so much need and so much vulnerability, even though it might be like a little harder to crack at first
Yeah.
because they've spent so much of their life bottling everything up. And I've just loved it so far.
I love
So
that for you.
yeah, so that's been really fun.
That's
actually.
awesome. That is awesome. I love that.
Yeah. So okay.
What's your confession?
Couch confessions. So this is the post. I mean, I've found another post of
Okay.
someone said, who's a therapist, they said, I helped a client create their dating profile and go through matches with them and their responses.
Oh, okay.
What do you think about that? That's an interesting one.
I like that. I think that's a great idea because communication, in my experience, communication is like, well, maybe less so with kids, but with adults, communication is probably a good 50% of what is going on. A
Yeah.
lack of communication. So if you are helping someone not only put themselves out there and doing it in a place where they're feeling safe and comforted and supported,
Mhm.
but then you're also helping them communicate
Yeah.
in a healthy way. I think that that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
I think it's really interesting because at first I read it and I was like, that's kind of odd.
Yeah.
But then I, like, as you were saying, I was kind of thinking, I'm like, even like you're helping them learn, like, well, what are your values? What are you
Yes.
looking for in a
Yeah.
relationship? And if you're like, if they're telling you, if they're telling you some of their, like the person's responses or whatever,
Yeah.
they're trying to decide like whether this person's worth,
Mhm.
you know, seeing or going on a date
Yeah.
with. And then you can kind of get to know them a little bit more of like, well, for in a relationship, like, what do you think of their response? How did it make you feel? Like doing all of that
Yeah.
work within that.
And it's bonding. You're
Yeah.
bonding with your client. And
I mean, if a client was comfortable enough with me to be like, will you help me make this
Right.
profile? I would be like,
I do think
okay.
that is the one condition, is that they need to come to you
Yes.
to ask you to help. It shouldn't be you going to them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that that's,
Yeah, like I would never be like, you
Yeah.
should make a dating profile.
Yeah.
And let's do it right now. Like,
yeah.
but if they were like, I really want to do this, will you help me? I mean, how do you say
Yeah.
that? But it is interesting when I read some of these and then we talk about them for couch confessions because I think about like the ethics of everything
Yeah.
and what that boils down to. But I do think, like you said, if a client is asking for it, then I don't see a problem with it. I don't know if anyone else would, but
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear what other people say to that.
yeah,
But I think that, you
people
know,
have been loving our couch confessions.
I know.
It's caused
I
some
know.
dialogue. So
Yeah. And I was going to, and I just realized this about halfway through, I was going to be live during this one also, and I
Yeah.
forgot to do it. So I really want to be live soon. Have people hop on. So maybe for next week's, we tend to record on, we always record on Thursdays. Mondays
Thursdays or Mondays.
Mondays or
Yeah.
Thursdays.
And we missed last week.
We
which
did.
We kind of both needed a minute.
Well, yeah.
Catch up.
With my husband being out of town, I couldn't handle life.
Yes. We needed a minute. And I was feeling a little overwhelmed last
Yeah.
week. So we took our little break.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But I will put on TikTok when we're going to record next, and I will go live for the next time we're recording.
Yeah. I like that idea.
And as we're recording the podcast, people can pop on and ask questions. And
Yeah, we'd love to do a question and answer. That'd be
love
so
it.
fun.
Yeah.
I would love that. Just to
I think it'd be
see
so fun.
even getting a sense of like what people want to hear.
Yeah.
That'd be great. So we'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening
Thank
to our
you.
conversation today. And if you are nearing the end of grad school, you've got this.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Trust in yourself. Trust in what you've learned. And you're going to be a great help to the people around you.
Yes, you are. And it's going to look lighter on the other end.
Yes. It gets so much better.
Yeah.
And you'll look back and be like, wow, I did it.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
All right. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Have a wonderful day.
See ya.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Couch Conversations Beyond the Textbook. If today's episode resonated with you, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone you think can relate. Keep showing up, keep learning, and remember, the best growth doesn't always come from a textbook. See you next time.